The Premier League are at it again, guys. They're trying to spin this legal case, this court case that was reported yesterday as a win, to the amusement of Manchester City's general counsel. Take a look at this. A lot of stuff been coming out this morning, man. It's really, really interesting. Man City have now written to every top-flight club rubbishing the Premier League's statement on the legal battle over associated party transaction rules. Manchester City have accused league bosses of misleading sides by providing inaccuracies. Manchester City's general counsel, Simon Cliff, says this: regrettably, the Premier League summary is misleading and contains several inaccuracies. Of even greater concern is the Premier League's suggestion that new APT rules should be passed within the next 10 days. When the Premier League consulted on and proposed the original APT rules in 2021, we pointed out that the process, which took several weeks, was rushed, ill thought out, and would result in rules that were anti-competitive. The recent award has validated those concerns entirely. And listen to this: Simon Jordan and Stefan Borson were speaking about this morning.
How can you have a decision of this nature and then say we're going to rush through in 10 days a whole load of new rules that try and deal with all of the aspects that are talked about within this decision? I think that is quite a challenge, and I think the league should be taking a step back and appraising the whole piece and saying, actually, do the rules work as they are currently drafted? Are we just simply creating another situation where there'll be further challenges? Because the last thing they need is another challenge where they lose because the drafting is admittedly poor. Remember, they've said themselves already in the Leicester case, and this is what the Premier League said: the rules were poor, their own drafting. It also came out in the cost decision that their rules were poor in that decision as well. And then, of course, here that they've lost on the drafting of the rules again.
Guys, are we going to get another legal case? Well, maybe. I mean, Stefan Borson is saying there, the Premier League are going down the wrong road. Manchester City warned the Premier League many times that you're going down the wrong path here. And it's led to a legal case where Manchester City have took the Premier League to arbitration and found that the rules were unlawful. And Simon Cliff, again, he said this is the general counsel to Manchester City. He said, we will be writing separately about this to the Premier League. But in the meantime, given the findings in this award, this is the time for careful reflection and considerations by all clubs and not for a knee-jerk reaction. He says such an unwise course would be likely lead to further legal proceedings with further legal costs. It is critical for member clubs to feel that they can have trust in their regulator. The Premier League are doing exactly what they did last time when Newcastle were bought. If you didn't watch the video yesterday that I put up on the channel, go and check that out, where rules were brought in to stop Newcastle. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to work that out. And City is saying the same thing again. You found these rules to be unlawful. Stefan Borson just spoke about how your rules when it comes to the Leicester case were not correct as well. Why are you trying to rush through these new rules in 10 days? Why are you trying to do that? Take your time, yeah? Come up with a proper drafted legal sort of text. Put it to your lawyers, make sure that they're happy with it, then put it through to the football clubs, see if you get any rejections. If you get rejections from clubs, take it on board, see whether there's any merit to it, and if there is, change it until you get something that is legitimate, which is what Simon Cliff is saying here. It is critical for member clubs to feel that they can have trust in their regulator. And at the moment, we just simply do not have that. And this is where we're going massively wrong, guys. We're going massively wrong. And this is all about the leadership from the top. The days of Richard Masters leading the Premier League are coming to an end. Listen to what Simon Jordan has to say.
Sorry to personalise this, but the Premier League board, if they lose to Man City in this 115, it's a ridiculous 115 charge scenario, I can see no reason why anybody would be looking at this Premier League board saying you are a competent force to take us forward. irrespective of whether we agree about the construct, you're taking people, you're tilting at windmills and spending tens of millions of pounds on legal fees, taking the league and its clubs down legal cul-de-sacs. How is that a win? How is what we saw yesterday a win?
How is it a win? This thing is being spun now by people who think they know what they're talking about. At the end of the day, these rules have been... All City needed to do when they took the Premier League to arbitration was one thing. One thing. Prove that these rules are unlawful. And they did that. They proved the rules are unlawful. That's a W. City had 2 sponsorships that were rejected by the Premier League. They have now been set aside because they come up with that decision in a procedurally unfair manner, and City can now look to put those through again. That's a W. These rules don't have to be changed. That's a W. Anyone trying to spin a narrative, yeah, that this actually is an L for Manchester City is just deluding themselves. They're just desperate. Listen to this as well. This is again Simon Cliff, and this is interesting. I want to speak about this as well. How Manchester City are now starting to speak, because we've not heard anything from City for years. Manchester City was unsuccessful in the majority of its challenge. This is a peculiar way of looking at the decision. While it's true that Manchester City did not succeed with every point that it ran in its legal challenge, the club did not need to prove that the APT rules were unlawful for lots of different reasons. It is enough that they are unlawful for one reason. In the event of the tribunal found that the APT rules are actually unlawful for 3 different sets of reasons. Completely correct. Completely correct. Man City did not need to prove that these rules are unlawful for 10 different reasons. One reason that these rules are unlawful, and that is shocking for the Premier League. Shocking. Because that means that the Premier League have had rules in their rule book which are unlawful with English law. How do people not get this? How do people not get this? Honestly, it's absolutely insane, guys, how people are just not understanding this as well. Then we come to someone, a well-respected Nick Demarco. Now, if you don't know who Nick Demarco is now very famous. He's a lawyer who worked on the Leicester case. And now he's got, like, everyone listens to everything he says because that was such a huge W. Look at what he has to say, right? Today, we've been finally able to read the written responses in the Premier League Man City case. As is often the case with lawyers, both sides have declared victory. The truth is somewhere in between. But listen to this. The fact, though, however, that parts of the Premier League's associated party transaction rules have been declared unlawful is significant. This is it. You don't need to read anything else. Because it's obvious to anyone with a brain that if the Premier League has rules that are unlawful, that is catastrophic for them. That's a huge L. A huge L. Yet people want to sit here and pretend like, oh, it's just a minor thing. It's not a minor thing. It's not a minor thing. City are now saying that these rules are all null and void until they update the rules. Because if you think about it, right, they cannot apply the associated party transaction rules right now because they're unlawful. So until they amend the rules, which they will do, nobody is claiming that these rules are just gone forever. They will be back, and then when they come back, hopefully this time, they will be lawful, which is the issue. They will be back. But at the moment, some are suggesting, and I understand why they suggested it, that the rules right now are null and void. Because they can't apply the rules right now because the rules are unlawful. So it's very interesting. And we're getting this sort of, this spin from, depending on who you listen to. It's kind of crazy depending on who you listen to, exactly what's going on. I'll try and bring this up actually here. Listen to this. Where is it? Yeah, Simon Cliff again. The APT rules, yeah, have been found to be unlawful as a matter of competition law and public law. This means that they are void and not capable of enforcement. This is a very significant consequence for APTs that have been entered into to date and APTs that are currently being negotiated into by other clubs. I don't get why people are trying to find that this is like just some not a win. It's incredible. It really, really is. It's hilarious. And the Premier League have got themselves to blame. And listen, the Premier League do have themselves to blame. City warned the Premier League when they brought these rules in. This last amendment, they said, listen, we think these rules that you're bringing in are unlawful. If you bring them in, we're going to take legal action. They brought them in. City went, oh, okay, then we'll take legal action. And City are bound to be correct. They're unlawful. Whose fault is it that this has happened? City are just trying to ruin everything, trying to sue and everything. City told the Premier League, these rules that you're bringing in are unlawful. If you bring them in, we're going to take legal action. The Premier League clubs went, F you, we're right, you're wrong. City went, oh, we'll find out in court then. We took it to arbitration, and guess what? They found to be unlawful. The Premier League is destroying itself. We have no leadership at the top. Richard Masters, yeah, this guy's a bozo. He won't be in the job for much longer. No way, mate. No way. Simon Jordan saying the same thing. In fact, let me play that clip one last time before we wrap up.
Sorry to personalise this, but the Premier League board, if they lose to Man City in this 115, it's a ridiculous 115 charge scenario, I can see no reason why anybody would be looking at this Premier League board saying you are a competent force to take us forward. Irrespective of whether we agree about the construct, you're taking people, you're tilting at windmills and spending tens and tens of millions of pounds on legal fees, taking the league and its clubs down legal cul-de-sacs. How is that a win? How is what we saw yesterday a win?
How is it a win? How is it a win? It's not a win, is it? It's clearly, guys, it's not a win. Again, you don't have to be a rocket scientist here to work out what's going on. The whole thing is a joke. The whole thing is a disgrace. And you know, what we're going to do here, we're just going to keep on being in these legal situations. It's just insane. Honestly, guys, the whole thing is just completely insane. We need a complete revamp of everything that's going on here. Yeah, because these PSR rules are not fit for purpose. APT rules are not fit for purpose. We know they're not fit for purpose because they're unlawful. Yeah? Where are we going from here? Newcastle fans raging, rightly so, about that email. Targeting clubs from the Gulf area. I mean, the language that they're using, and they're not even trying to hide it, man. They're not even trying to hide it. Absolutely ridiculous. Final point here, guys. Simon Jordan. Yeah, this guy is someone that City fans don't really like because he criticises us a lot. But I was listening to him on TalkSport this morning, and he had something very interesting to say. When it came to profit and sustainability rules, he's actually now not for profit and sustainability rules. He actually doesn't like profit and sustainability. He wants clubs to be able to invest, which is very, very interesting because for a long time we felt that Simon Jordan's been against us. He's been on our case. But are people starting to wake up? Even people in the media who typically we think don't really like us because of the way they've reported against us for so long. They're now starting to change their tune. They're starting to look at this now and go, hang on a minute. This isn't right.
We have a different view of the world versus Newcastle.
So, Simon, if you were still a Premier League club owner today, what would you be? Team City or Team Premier League?
I don't think I'd be either. I think one of the things that the Premier League has done.
You either support the rules or you don't.
Well, I support the rules insofar as you need some form of governance. I don't support the implementation of something that clearly doesn't work. I don't think PSR is a good thing. I thought it was once upon a time. I thought it was about doing something different than what it's doing. I thought it was about controlling transfer fees and wages and gave people a chance. It's not about that. It's about maintaining a cartel. I think that investment, I don't like anything that restricts investment, and I think PSR does that. And I think everything that the Premier League has been so successful in achieving over the last 30 years, it's beginning to busily unwind and create a problem for itself. What you're going to get is the Ministry of Non-Entities appointing a regulator soon. That's going to be quite a distasteful one if the Premier League doesn't get itself together, because you'll find yourself getting a regulator, and Stefan and I will argue about the resources that will be deployed in that situation, but notwithstanding that, a regulator that doesn't like the...
Simon Jordan saying now he doesn't like PSR. People are changing their mind. People are waking up. Guys, let me know your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Manchester City are saying to the Premier League, take your time. There's no need to rush it. If you rush it and you get it wrong, we'll sue you again. The warning is there. The Premier League, if you want to rush these next rules through in 10 days, Be our guest. But if you get it wrong, don't think we're going to go, oh, we're not doing it again. We're going to sue you again. We're going to sue you again. We'll sue you again. We'll sue you again until you get the rules right, mate. So take your freaking time. Stop rushing things, mate. Yeah? You've already lost the Leicester case. You've now found that these APT rules to be unlawful. Yeah? Richard Masters, your time is coming to an end, mate. Your time at the Premier League is coming to an end. Guys, smash a like. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Give me your thoughts in the comment section down below. And I'll catch you in the next one. See you later.